All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm your new testosterone consultant, all right? And if you do this position, you will 10x your testosterone. Joking. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, I'm gonna show you where you can make money next week. Okay, so Cyber Monday sale. It's the first thing. Please use my affiliate link so I can get rich and I can scam you and I can take your money into my pocket, okay? No, I'm just joking. Okay, let's start off with Euro USD. So as you can see, the weekly time frame, this is the market, it's the Forex market, goes up and down. And how we determine whether or not it's going up or down is by knowing that the market is always doing this market structure, right? This is an uptrend. If it would be the opposite, it would be a downtrend. So we have higher highs and higher lows, and we always want to buy at these points, which is the structure point, and simply because it has the highest probability of going to the upside. As you can see, this is retesting this structure point, this would be retesting another structure point, and this would be retesting this structure point. So we always want to buy here at the potential higher low. We don't want to buy at the highest point when the market is up here. We want to buy at the retest of some level of resistance or support, which we call this one resistance because as you can see, it went up and it went down. And this is called resistance. Pretty simple, straightforward. Okay. So let's just walk through it. I have selected my favorite pairs this week already. As you can see, I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs. We can walk through the pairs from last week very, very quickly. I think it has been the ones from last week have been AUD USD. So on AUD USD, we've been waiting for a retest to then sell. As you can see, we had it kind of like so. The start of the week has been this here, so you can see it kind of like wicked into this area. If I go down to the 4 hour, on Monday, the 25th, they actually went into this area. Obviously, this has been at night, so we couldn't take anything, and it went straight to the downside. And it just shows you, okay, cool, we have this area of interest, and when it gets there, it pushes down again. So support and resistance makes sense if you just look at the analysis and at what we said it's going to do. Everything we have to determine for ourselves is how do we get into this trade and how do we profit off of it. And this is where the lower time frames come into play and where we monitor it and look for our entry signals, etc. The second one has been USD CAD. On USD CAD, we have been looking for essentially just like a retest to then buy. And as you can see, this has beautifully played out, kind of like this is the daily time frame. On a 4 hour, this would look like this. Obviously, it retested in the night, and I didn't enter this trade. I wasn't really brought into it because I was just I was honestly just waiting for, I think, what was it, Euro JPY? Yeah, I was waiting for this one. As you can see, this is a 130% trade, and USD CAD is a 75% trade. So kind of like a no-brainer. These have been my three markets that I've been looking at. And I saw USD CAD play out earlier than this one. USD CAD played out before Euro JPY. As you can see, it is Sunday, the 4 hour time frame, kind of like retested here. So 11 a.m. I could have entered right here, and I was like, I saw this, right? 75%. And I'm sure that at this point we had another confluence because we retested this 4 hour time frame, and I was looking actively at the markets. I didn't enter the trade. It would have been an 85% trade if I would have taken this into account, because this year, right, is a retest of the EMA, retest of structure point, the 4 hour turning bullish again because we are because we closed above this structure point right here. And the market now turned bullish at this point. And this is extra confidence. So it would have been an 85% trade, but at the same time, I could have I was able to see that, that EUR/JPY, if we would have ticked off, if we would have retested this area here, we would have had a 130% trade. Obviously, you can see it kind of like on Sunday, it kind of like had a little bit of a retest, went to this structure point on the 4 hour, but we never made it to this area of interest, which is fine, but we had the overall market move. The weekly rejected this EMA and we had a strong move to the downside. You can't avoid that. It's simply left without us. We didn't take a trade this week simply by sticking to the highest probability trades and by having a high expectation and making quality over quantity. Yes, we could have made money on USD CAD, no doubt about it. But if we have EUR/JPY lining up and it doesn't happen, yeah, cool. Like it's gonna happen next week, next month, next year again. So no need to rush into anything. High quality over quantity. No need to take a loss. And yeah, I wasn't willing to take a loss on there. If I'm not willing to take a loss on it, I'm not willing to take a win on it. So I'm good. That's simply how I think. And you just have to be willing to take a loss on it. If you're not willing, I would be 110 times, I would be willing to take a loss on this 10 times, like 130%, bro. This is crazy. Perfect head and shoulders pattern. It can't get any better. Three time frames in sync, weekly, daily, and 4 hour is bearish, bro. This is a fucking no-brainer trade. I would take a loss every single time, and that's as simple as it gets, right? So this is last week, and now to this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very simple, right? Like this is I already organized them, but stop. Let me actually see if I'm recording. Yeah, I'm recording. So I just organize them after the best ones that are the that are ready the earliest. So the first market is going to be Euro USD, and on Euro USD you can see. Actually, we don't need that. This is like an old note that I've did. Still pulling back on weekly time frame for buy, waiting for daily in 4 hour to turn bullish. So we were anticipating when I wrote this note to buy the market, right? And you can see where the bullish engulfing candlestick on the weekly, I guess. Yeah, we engulfed this candlestick. Right now, obviously all time frames are bullish, except the weekly. The weekly is still bearish, and the daily is actually bearish as well. So that's a good sign. So we don't need the 4 hour to turn bearish because we have the daily and the weekly bearish. And you just gotta ask yourself, okay, how high is the probability that we're gonna open and just reject and go to the downside? Maybe it's gonna have a week of a rejection, doji candlestick, whatever. And maybe it takes a couple of weeks for the EMA to come to this area, whatever, or maybe the price even goes up to this area to reject the EMA. And yeah, that's kind of like how I think, because the EMA is always a strong indication of price. But we also could just reject this EMA. We could have a couple of days, maybe a week of a rejection, and then the EMA coming to this area right here, as you can see. If I draw it like this, would take a couple of days for it. But it doesn't have to, So I'm still conservative on this trade. I think it doesn't happen in the next few days. Monday, Tuesday, I don't think it's gonna be ready, but it's the best one. So weekly time frame on Euro UAD, Euro AUD looks beautiful. As you can see, we have perfect market structure. If I just draw it in, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So if I drag that out right now, yeah, what did we talk about? Yeah, we're talking about always rejecting the previous structure point. Yeah, of course, it's never gonna happen perfectly like this, right? Where it's just gonna reject perfectly. So, but it's still fine because we have multiple time frames where we can apply it. And where we are right now, we are at a good point because we're rejecting the area of interest. At the daily time frame, you can see we have a good head and shoulders pattern right here. And I think it's pretty ready to play out right now. The only thing that I'm concerned about is kind of like the daily and the 4 hour because we kind of like if we because I want to see it uh have a weekly wick and then I would take the trade up here and then probably sell because it always has to create a wick to the upside on a weekly time frame. So daily would do something like this and go to the downside. So from here we would take the trade. That's simply it. That's my prediction for next week. What's going to happen? AUD CAT weekly time frame. It's kind of like a similar thing to Euro AUD. Actually, I don't like this so much. I like these one better. These ones better. AUD CAT. We also have the pullback. We have bearish. So this looks good. We have the weekly wick as well, kind of like a candlestick rejection. However, we actually bearish still on the daily. That's good. So I would love for the daily to create a wick to this area, reject, and then head to the downside. So actually, let me make an alert right here. So this looks perfect. We already had Euro USD, USD CAD. I think this could have the same reaction again. As you can see, we had this weekly wick now, so we could pretty much fill the wick. We had the pullback, 1 week of a wick, 1 week of a push. The weekly is very bullish. It has upside potential. No reason not to buy the market. We just have more confidences now in our favor. If I would mark it up again, we would have like 85, 95% of a setup. I'd say so for our yeah, it looks good, man. I really like the trade. I think would be ready to take again. Can take the same trade again. It just it right now it's just the past week just showed us that it is a respected level of support right here because we had to push to the upside. And yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good that we waited for it because now we have a higher probability for the trade to play out. But that's if you just understand what the market's doing, like it's impossible to fail, really. AUD USD, weekly time frame. I mean, it looks pretty simple. We had a week of a pullback, 1 week of a rejection. And yeah, what I'm concerned about is this thing right here because it kind of like had to push already. But it's kind of like similar to USD CAD, just the opposite way around because USD is on the other side. So would go with the USD. And if USD CAD has to move, AUD USD would have to move in the opposite direction. That's kind of like the logic behind it because these pairs are correlated because of the USD. So yeah, it's a confirmation that we are at the respected level of resistance right here. As you can see, it rejected, had the pullback a little bit, but we didn't reject all the way. But it has more downside potential. Just look at it. We having a pullback. We have very strong bearish, and we could come to this level on the weekly. We could come to this level on the daily. So it still has potential to the downside. I'm a big fan. Then we have a lot of markets, man. It's crazy. And again, head and shoulders on this Euro NZD. Daily time frame, head and shoulders. As you can see, this is like a pattern. Left, head, and right shoulder. Kind of like did retest it already. However, I still like it because the weekly is kind of like rejecting it, having a weekly very strong rejection candlestick. Daily is bearish, kind of like a little head and shoulders in the 4 hour. Also very, very well respected. It kind of like had to move already, so I'm not really brought into it because we're already having the move. And this is kind of like a little bit, yeah, prices held up or they held up here. So I like these markets the most. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So retest, sell, retest, sell, retest, sell, retest, buy, AUD/USD, retest, sell, EUR/NZD, retest, sell. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Man, we got a lot of bearish markets this week. Let's fucking go.